At the time, you were younger, right? Are you closer or are you above the range of what you're acting in?
At the first season, I was 29, playing 42.
Interesting. So you were my age when we first started on that.
Oh my gosh!
Hey!
Yeah, but We Gotta Go is also part of our story. I mean, that's just part of our deal, man.
Project Acre Action Reimagined, where Sandbox Action Studios revisits popular Singapore classics and reimagine the action scenes with modern sensibilities. Hi, I'm Tiffany Yong, the co-founder of Sandbox, and I have my partner Peps Goh here with me.
Hi everyone, my name is Peps Goh. I'm one of the co-founders of Sandbox. I'm an actor, I'm an action director, coordinator, choreographer.
So today we are going to look at 999, a fiction police drama aired on Channel 5 between 1995 to 1999. It was the station's earliest attempt in an action-based drama series, and the show revolved around the lives of a group of police officers, namely Inspector Mike Chin, Inspector Elaine Tay, and Sergeant Alan Leong. They are from the Special Investigation Section of the CID. So today we have invited Sergeant Alan Leong, Mr. Lim Yu Beng, to be our guest.
Oh my gosh!
How long has it been since you last heard this name?
My goodness. Well, actually, it's kind of funny because every time people see me and go, hey, you will hear them say it. They will actually say the name. And it tends to be, it's always guys. And it used to be always of a certain age range. But now I realize that because, everything's on repeat, right? It's on repeat all the time. And now you got it on Netflix and all that as well. So every generation seems to know it. And but it's mostly guys.
At the time, you were younger, right? Are you closer or are you above the range of what you're acting in? And does it give you new perspective on what the story was and how your character behaved through the series?
Boy, yeah, it's always a new perspective. So at the time, in the first season, and I don't know which season you're going to show me, okay? But at the first season, I was 29, playing 42. And so that was kind of weird, right? Because, everybody else was also in their 20s, but they were playing, much younger. For the longest time, I would keep, MediaCorp would just keep sending me up for these 60-something roles. And I'm like, dude, I'm like 30, right? And they're like, no, older roles. And so I was always sent up for those roles. So I was 29 playing 42, and I did that, obviously, as the years progressed. But today, I'm 58. And I'm still kind of playing 40-something. So it's a very different perspective. I've had my eye on this ball, and I've been walking, and now I'm over here, and I still got my eye on that ball. I'm like, that's kind of weird.
Interesting. So you were my age when we first started on that.
Oh my gosh! Hey, better watch out. See what's going to happen to you.
You should go and act that role.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's take a look at the original so we can refresh our memory on what it was. And I hope it brings back lovely nostalgic memories.
Oh, I'm sure it will. It was a great season.
In 3, 2, 1. Hey! Was the stash real?
Yeah, man. I couldn't fight with a fake stash.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot of those.
The concept of this section was really interesting to my team when we first watched it.
Yeah.
The idea of the disarm to counter disarm.
Yeah.
The line deliveries are very deliberate. And was it the tone of the show? Because when we watched it, we were be like, okay, I can see this might be a product of its time, in a sense.
It is entirely a product of its time. And I would say also, and with no disrespect to anybody, I think that we have always been on a journey of learning, right? So if you think back to it, 999 was, I think, only our third English language series. And concurrently running with this would have been growing up. So it's still fairly early days of the English language program. A lot of the initial writing had been gleaned, and they'd actually taken a certain amount of instruction from certain, Hollywood writers and so on. It had a bit of that tone, a little bit of that sensibility, and we had a lot of influence here also of the biggest Asian film and TV market at the time was TVB, and all the Hong Kong material. And so the style, I know this was shot in 98, but we had taken a certain amount of the 80s Hong Kong thing on board, and I don't think we were conscious of it, but when you look at it in retrospect, I think it's fairly clear. The fighting style, where the cuts are coming, where the cuts coming for the disarm, the rearm, it's all, it does speak of that time,
It actually reminds me of the first season of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
Sifu of Hongga Kung Fu, and was his Sifu. And Robin is a Sifu. It's real for him, but of course dressed up and done in a very, forgive me, 80s style of shooting. Like every kick you're going low, shooting up. That sort of thing, right? It's fun. It is fun to watch. And I remember this fight.
So was 999 your first action role?
Yes.
And it also on Wikipedia we saw that it's Channel 5 at the time, their first foray into a full action series.
It was.
So
yes.
that must be quite exciting. And was it very how did the team at the time approach going to action filmmaking as like a first foray? Because like the scene is very very adventurous. Like sometimes you will see like a lot of shows these days, they just do just enough to get over the scene and continue telling the story. But I can see that you guys were trying to do even more than that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like what was the process?
So if you look at it, and now that I'm watching it, I'm realizing we must be looking at season 3, Ep 1, because we're trying to establish the character, Chia Swan's character, because she's going to be the main girl paired with Robin throughout the season. And this is where we introduce a character and we realize, oh, she's not a crook, she's a cop. They're both cops. It's just they don't know that each other they're on the same side, right? So we want to establish them both as fighters. And we had already 2 seasons by that time, and we'd always had Jimmy Low, and you see his brother there as the bad guy, taking all the hits and all that. So the famous Low brothers, right? They were doing all our stunts, and they were the stunt people of that time. And so yes, it was designed to be much more action based at the time. As trying to be pretty flash about it. There were entire episodes in this season where we wanted to maximize the fact that Robin is a martial artist because stunts was kind of like a thing that I love to do. I was very heavily involved in all that as well.
Okay. So that was what brought you into also the space of coordinating as well, because you do coordinating quite extensively as well as your acting career.
To be honest, like many of the things that I do, they kind of fell into place simply because it had to be done. And you needed somebody who could do it. So, it's like being the guy who knows how to hammer a nail. Okay, I'll do it, and then you just do it. And by the same token, when I started doing a lot of that particularly for stage, and I hadn't realized until recently that, oh gosh, I've actually got quite a few stage credits for this sort of thing. That it was simply that I had experience in it, and so I just became the guy that had to get it done, and that's just what happened. So it wasn't really a conscious move on my part. It's more that, oh, it needs to be done. Okay, I'll do it.
Do you want to share with us like about your direction about the recreation?
Okay.
Before you even watch it.
Yeah, so just for context, alright. So this scene, we're like, okay, let's go into recreating it. And okay, so the story is the 2 cops doesn't know that they are cops. So they ended up in a fight. So we're like, okay, how do we make that work narratively? Because as we were designing the scene, we ran into the problem constantly of he has a handcuff, he's obviously a cop. Why does she not know? Okay, so how do we organically make them fight? And then like her motivation should be to arrest instead of going into a fist fight. So we need to make sure that Robin's character is stopping her from arresting, and then the violence starts to gradually escalate to justify them throwing like full-on strikes to each other. And then like wanted to keep key narrative points of like it's a battle of trying to get the gun, disarm to disarm, but okay, how do we utilize modern kind of sensibilities to recent crime thriller genres of action? How do we bring it to that? Because we want to stay as faithful as possible, but we also want to integrate as much of what modern audiences enjoy, so that we can see the generational shift of the recreation versus the original. But then it still has to be somewhat recognizable to the scene. So that was the main problem I was trying to tackle.
That's not a problem, man. That's great. That's exactly what I think people should do. I mean, the fact that you, as a present-day stunt director, attack it with your it has to be with your eyes, and that's perfect. I'm so glad to hear that that's what you did.
I hope I tried to. So the character that was playing your part, his name is Benzo. I'm not sure if you've worked with him before.
I don't think so.
He's from TCP, so he's been training with us for a while. He's
Right.
our level 2 certified performer.
Cool.
So we also put him into the role and try and integrate.
Is he wearing a fake tash?
He's not. We're always trying to integrate the students that go through our programs into our projects as well.
Note about the fake tash. I could never do anything with a fake tash because I had shot some stuff in troubled waters with a fake, and it just like you're sweating and that's why I had to grow one. For every season of Triple Nine, I had to grow one, and I would freak out because until today, I'm still not used to it. So every now and then I'll look down and I'll see it on my own face and I'm like, like there's a cockroach on my face, but actually it's my own stash.
It's uncomfortable.
It just grosses me out.
Okay.
But
Peps has been trying to grow. He couldn't.
don't bother. I know. I mean, I have in the past, but
Mine just grows out heavy on the sides, so it becomes like a Kung Fu Master stash.
Yes, yeah, it's true.
So ready?
Yes.
Ready. So YuBeng, on the left, that's your character. So you're the senior officer at the time, right? So we kind of had your character lead the whole thing.
Oh, and Kasimir is.
Kasimir will be Robin.
Ooh.
There's like a slow escalation of violence because they're trying to get away from each other, but it gets worse and worse. So the Robin's character is supposed to be like a goody two-show. He's still trying to arrest her, not really hurt her so much.
Yes.
But she's just getting more and more aggressive, and she has to use kind of strategic props to get an upper hand because she's smaller as a lady. And your character starts off with trying to arrest him, but he just gets sick of it and he just beats his ass.
You would. I mean,
it's like the senior officer who doesn't have that much rules. Like he's not afraid to just bash the guy.
ow, that's gotta hurt. That's.
So like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is very often used in modern
It's
crime
in everything
shows.
nowadays. Yeah.
So we're trying to include those kind of flavors, something interesting.
Oh.
So I really wanted to through the design tell the story of the characters. So Robin's trying he's just really trying to be a good cop, doesn't want to hurt anyone, but then he gets dragged into a dogfight. And your character is he's not afraid to escalate it and to really settle the situation.
I appreciate very much the thinking in terms of character, even as a stunt director. I think at the time we didn't think of it as the job, but I think that whenever we're getting together as creatives, that we all need to speak on director level. I think that is something that elevates our craft. I would like to see more of that in our work, because when I work with really good people, anywhere, Singapore or anywhere, they're all doing that. When the creatives are getting together, when the stunt person's getting in there, when the lighting person's getting in there, when your DP's getting in there, you are all speaking at director level. You are all understanding the dramatic beats. It's not, okay lah, I'm just gonna, set up the thing here and you all do your creative thing lah. It's not. We are all creatives. we are all understanding these are the dramatic beats. This character is doing such and such. Therefore, I've got to make this, I'm shaping this moment to support your vision of this. Does this track with what you're doing, dude? Yes, it does. Great, let's go that way. And I think that makes it better. I appreciate very much what I just saw you do in that. So yeah,
It was fun.
I bet.
Yeah. It was difficult, I think, for us to find the location itself.
Yeah, it's
Where
really
do you guys shoot it?
It looks like one of those houses in Caldecott Hill. And there were a few houses in Caldecott Hill who, I think that they had quite kindly allowed us to shoot. And they allowed a number of people to shoot, like people from Channel 8, Channel 5. When you had more major shoots, and I think that might have been one of them, where you figured you were going to be there for, the entire day. We might have shot a night sequence there as well. I'm not sure. So it might have been, but I think that one was probably somebody's actual operating house. Yeah.
Which is always like scary to shoot in, especially action, because you don't want to hurt anything in the
And you don't
house.
want to break it. Yeah.
Yeah, we shot in somebody's actual house. I know our co-producers at Mintos Studio had to pull favors for us to get a house for 2 days, and we would walk around.
Yeah.
And they were very nice and lovely. But as the choreographer, it always makes me very worried that I'll break things. So I have to also kind of cater the design to keep things safe. That's why we had a small
Absolutely.
sequence on the sofa, because you can't really break a soft sofa.
Yeah.
And I wanted to integrate this modern trend of using improvised weapon. Whatever she can grab, she gets into the scene, which adds a bit of texture to it.
But that's also why when we watch stuff from then, it just feels chunky, right? It just feels like, oh my gosh, we're going from this, going clunk and then clunk to the next time, and clunk, it just feels like, why can't we just... But it's true of everything that I watch from that period. It's movie making from that period, even scenes, even how we edit those scenes, it's so different today. Kids are editing on their iPhone way faster than we did back then. So I think just the whole sensibility has changed.
But also at the same time, right, I feel like recently there's been a sense of nostalgia and people want to explore those genres again. And it's always a fun exercise as a coordinator and choreographer to dip into something you've never really done and see how faithful you can get to it. Because I think creativity works best in a limited space as opposed to being able to do everything. When a project comes to you with a very specific tone and scope, that you are challenged to have to try and get to their vision while still appealing to modern audiences. I think that's where the fun is as a choreographer.
Yes, definitely.
Behind the camera right now is our DP for this show. I would love to get him to come in and take my spot and share a bit of your experience.
So, hi, I'm Nicholas. I'm the cinematographer for this project.
You guys, do you tell Nick what you want, or do you lay out the action and then Nick tells you what shots he's proposing?
So it's a system that we implement from overseas into Sandbox, which is before we shoot everything, we will shoot a previs. So we're already in the training room, we have shot the whole thing together. So in the training room, we have the time and space to kind of discuss back and forth. Okay, I think it might look good from here, but what do you think? Okay, he think he might do that shot from there. Okay, if you do that shot from there, I'll adjust my action a little bit to favor that cam.
So
And
you're
then we work
collaborating
hand in
from
hand.
ground up, actually.
Yeah.
But from the start, I think the first thing that we always do is the story. So when we analyze the scene, then we look through the start to the end, and then we talk about what happens before, what happens after, why is this character there, and then from there, then we go into how would they behave in the scene, and then from how would they behave in the scene, then we think of what kind of action would work, and then from what kind of action will work, it becomes how do you shoot that action, and then if it doesn't work in that sense, then you have to tweak everything.
I love that that's how you guys are approaching it. I've been there when I've seen shows, and these are shows that have gone up on air and whatever, where the vision of the cinematographer and the vision of for example, the fight choreographer, and even the vision of the overall director are not gelling, or the working styles are not gelling. And as a result, there's sometimes a complete breakdown. And the product, which could really be so good, because the vision of each one is so good, fails to be as much as it could be because the interface is not there, the collaboration is not there, and the understanding of each other and the willingness to try and help each other to realize that vision is not there. And so that sounds great.
Something that I try to do before every project is to have a session with the director where we can watch the shows that he loves, and more than that, to watch the show that he hates. And then we really pick it apart, why do you not like this? Why do you like that?
Wow.
And then so to get in the headspace of understanding, because when a director once has told me I want this shot to be very fast, the character feels very fast. So we try to do a certain amount of things, and it all doesn't work. But in the end, he actually wanted the scene in slow-mo. So he wanted it to perceive like the actor is faster than everyone else. So like even like little things like this language, the use of the language is different. So like if you didn't have a chance to do that, we would not have been able to communicate on set.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So if you still remember, because it's been like 20 years, how long did that scene take for you guys to shoot it?
Okay, so we worked on a really fast. I mean, and as you know, Singapore turnover rate is much higher than our shoot ratio is a lot higher, right? If you are doing a scene like that overseas, I mean, you're likely setting apart 1-2 days for it, at least 2 days for it. I think we probably shot that in a day, if not less. But there was always pressure to churn it out,
And plus, at the time, there was no culture for rehearsals, right? So you're taught exactly what you're going to do on set. You're coming up with stuff as you go. So it must be even more high pressure.
I think there was less of a culture for rehearsals. I think there was a rehearsal. I think it tended to slide away towards the end. But I think we did have a rehearsal for that. And of course, you get a rehearsal on set. To a certain degree, it was kind of, it always felt a little guerrilla.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Because like when I first stepped into the industry, that's how we worked as well.
Yes. But the good thing is by season 3, people understood that, look, if you're going to do a stunt scene, you need to apportion more time because simply, look, just that 1 minute of output on screen is equivalent to so many shots. You got so many more setups per that 1 minute of content. Than you would do in a standard, classic Hollywood setup for a conversation scene, right? So you got this, and then you get this, and then you get this, and then you get the close-up, and the scene's over. You're not going to do it in 5 shots. You're going to do it in 20 shots for that same minute.
And plus, it takes time for the actors to ramp up into the level of performance. So it kind of like, you're at least looking at 5 takes if they're very good. If not, 20 takes.
Yeah.
So like 20 shots, 20 takes. We had a rehearsal, which we previous the whole thing, and then we tried to shift things around a little bit.
I
and
love
then
previs. I think previs is such a great thing that I'm so glad we have it nowadays. And a lot of it is because everything's digital now and it's so easy to do. I mean, we didn't have that luxury in the past because everything was, you didn't have digital stuff.
You had to snip the extra film and there's too much work for a rehearsal, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I've edited quarter-inch, reels before. It's with a blade,
Oh man, that's intense.
So that's nuts.
Now we can do like 3 rounds of previs, 1 on the phone, 1 on the computer.
Correct.
Yeah, so
Correct.
it's much more convenient.
Yes.
Yeah, and everyone steps on set kind of having rehearsed the entire shooting process.
Exactly.
So it makes things so much easier.
Yeah.
And then we had 2 days of shoot, each day lasting 6 hours. Yeah. We had a small skeletal crew of just 5 people. And it was still quite rushed for us, right? Like what was your experience? What would be an ideal timeline for you and what was it like?
I think the main issue that we had was actually about one was the crew. We had very little people, but the other one was actually the weather because the location we're shooting was windows all around, and then every day it just started raining. So both days of shoot there was rain, and we were just like, so Conti was out of the window. So we were like, okay, let's just
avoid the window.
Yeah, we can't avoid the window. It's 360. So all you could do was just shift everything to make it look like it sort of matched, and then just play around with it, and then go on with that. But in terms of timeline, preferably at least another day or 2 more. Yeah, then that way you could push both the actors and the camera side to be better actually.
More time to polish each shot.
Yeah, but We Gotta Go is also part of our story lah. I mean, that's just part of our deal, man. That's what we work with.
That's part of the job lah.
Okay, so thanks, YuBeng, for making time to be here with us.
My pleasure.
Hope you enjoyed the little clip that we prepared. And we are always trying to create more action in Singapore, and it wouldn't be possible without all your support. So your likes, your views, and your shares will be a very huge encouragement for all of us.
And we're always looking for new inspirations. So if there are any shows that you would like us to recreate, please feel free to drop it in the comments or hit us up on IG. This project is co-produced with our friends at Mintos Studios, and I really like to shout out to Shure for supporting our audio for both the shoot as well as this podcast.
So that's it for today. Thank you guys. Bye.